style later in the settings menu.
Yeah, I did it, but it ain't just me, it's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Know when you riding like we riding with each other. Ain't no I in this, it's the whole team. Share it with the whole team.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loves so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football and brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay. And we're underway in the John Madden Legacy Game. And taken down just past the 20 at about the 21-yard line. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
From the 21, it's 2nd and 10. To throw is far. It's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect. So 2 incompletions have led him to an early 3rd and 10. Throwing is far. Man open, that's Deebo Samuel. And they'll get it all the way up about 5 yards shy of midfield. That's a 3rd down conversion of 24 yards there. Nice play. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, they drafted 30 rounds then.
Here's Favre to throw. Got a man, it's Randy Moss, complete. And they'll get him down as he's inside the 40. 17 yards there on 3rd down as they pick up a 1st and 10. From the shotgun, it's Favre. Throw left side, completion to Rice. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. Was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles. You and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his...
And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. A great effort there. 26 yards. And the NFC takes it all the way down the field to score on their opening drive. Well, he wasn't the guy they were initially going for, but after going through the progressions, it worked.
when you have plenty of people who can catch the football, you don't always have to go to your primary target, and sometimes that target is actually covered. Nice job coming off of that and getting it to someone who was open.
Yeah, the man out of the backfield gets in for the score. Morton Anderson now for the extra point. His kick is good, and the NFC goes up 7-0. So an 8-play drive covering 80 yards. And it's finished off by an NFC touchdown. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And Hall not going to bring this one out. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
Looking back to the air on second down, it's Brady. This is caught. It's Brown. And they work this well upfield across the 45. Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon. Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
One quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. The NFC stars. The AFC with a football here to begin the second quarter. Need something from deep in the bag of tricks here after first and second down went backwards. It's third and very long. Eluding the pressure right. And the throw there going to be incomplete. The passing game not in sync here early. And now it's fourth down. On is the Hall of Famer Ray Guy to punt this away on fourth down. And a nice spin into some open field. And now off to the races down the right side. Touchdown! Just a fantastic punt return of 80 yards. And the NFC strikes quickly for 6.
When you've got a guy that fast back there to receive punts, that's a nightmare for the guy game planning, the special teams coach. But it's also a nightmare for the punter. Sometimes they get so nervous that they miss-hit the ball and kick it right to him.
Now to try to add the extra point, the lefty Anderson. And it's good to make it 14-0. Well, it's no secret. That's why they have him return punts. He has the capability to take them back, and he did so there. So after surrendering the punt return for a score, let's see what they can do in turn on this kickoff. This taken in at the goal line. And he'll be brought down shy of the 20, so the decision to bring it out of the end zone, not a good one. The AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. So 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root, as did the expression commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about this great lineman he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrom, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
Throwing here to start the drive as they connect left side. And past the 35, he'll be dropped a yard or two shy of the 30. And the play goes for 19 yards, gives him a new set of downs. 2 minutes remain here in the first half of the John Madden Legacy game. We'll be back. Line of scrimmage, the 31 now on 1st and 10. Now Favre. Completes it to the tight end, Kittle. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, a Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it.
And he fires one that's intercepted. Rod Woodson with a pick. Past the 10 to the 11-yard line, and that's where the return stops.
Well, Brandon, as they say in popular culture, this one's going to leave a mark because they can see the end zone, but it'll stay out of reach because of their error. All their offensive teammates have to give the quarterback right now, offer a little bit of encouragement because what's done is done. Let's get them next time out.
The CD, we spoke of some of the Raiders' tough playoff losses through the decade of the 70s, but for one shining season, they put it all together, and that was 1976. You remember a 13-1 regular season, a memorable playoff win over New England. They dominated the Steelers 24-7 in the AFC title game, and then a meeting with the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 11.
Oh, Brandon, what a game that was down at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. A gorgeous 53-degree day, perfect for football. Raiders get out to a 16-0 lead at the half, and Clarence Davis, no relation, although I would certainly claim him, strong on the ground, 137 yards rushing. How about Freddie Biletnikoff, the MVP of that game, catching everything that came his way? Kenny Stabler running the offense with precision. And we all remember the one that sealed it. The grand old man himself, Willie Brown, with the laser-focused eyes, picking off Fran Tarkenton and taking it 75 yards for a touchdown. 32-14 the final score. Raiders had their first Super Bowl title, and we got the iconic shot of Coach Madden being lifted on the shoulder pads of his players and carried aloft as a Super Bowl champ.
Now the AFC going to use their final timeout of the half, as the clock will stop with 21 seconds to go here in the first half. Need something from deep in the bag of tricks here after first and second down went backwards. It's third and very long. Inside handoff here to Ricard. Call it a gain of 4, but not enough. The punt team going to need to be summoned here on 4th down. Here's Ray Guy now. He's been a busy man here in this first half as he gets it away. Well, coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley. Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducting coach into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. The second half forthcoming from Oakland. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start. And people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
And they'll mark him down right around the 9, just shy of the 10. Second down and 8. Favre going up top for Cup. And got his man complete. And they'll get this down to around the 47-yard line.
I guess that answers the question of whether or not they're going to try to play conservative and protect this lead in the third quarter.
And I think this is something we're seeing more and more of in the NFL. Teams not playing to protect leads, teams playing to extend them.
And he's got this down to the 35.
Back-to-back nice plays, 12 yards that time and a first down.
As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you're talking about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified.
Back now here on EA Sports.
It's AFC football, but they trail here as we begin the fourth quarter. It's a second down run with Sanders, and he'll only get a yard to bring up 3rd and 1. So they just need 1 yard here to pick up the first down. Oh, and the hard count might have got him. This might be a first down.
Encroachment, evening.
Don't do us like that.
A little antsy on the left side of the line.
Yeah, I think they got the guy in the end. I think they got the DN there on that one. And let's face it, he is so amped up, wanting to get a good get off on the snap, jump too quickly.
They'll go again with Sanders. And this will leave him a yard short. Nice pickup of 9 yards on first down. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for. And it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic.
And intercepted. Maybe the turning point they need. Picked off by the 8-time Pro Bowler, Steve Atwater. And now with that interception, you feel like we got a ball game again. Remember, 2-score contest and still time left here in the fourth.
And in the old days, not too long gone either. Throwing the ball here would have been an absolute no-no, but the way the game's played now, throwing it makes sense. You just have to be careful when you put it in the air.
So 2 minutes to play in the John Madden Legacy game. The NFC trying to finish this one off. We're back to Oakland after this. 2nd and 9 now from the 21. On the toss, here's Allen. And nothing doing. He's immediately taken down at the line of scrimmage. They'll get to the line here, but remember, it's also 3rd down. Here's Brady to throw. And it's complete to Antonio Gates. And he's brought down, getting this one up to about the 35. And he cannot get rid of it. The NFC getting in there for the sack. Throwing on 2nd and long. Brady under pressure. They got him again. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts as it comes with 1:04 left to go in the game. Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw. And this is intercepted, and that should do it. And they'll set up shop in enemy territory at the 45-yard line. How about one last great play defensively, and that should, for all intents and purposes, finish off this shutout.
That's as good a defensive performance as we've seen in a long, long time. And I know as a team they will celebrate, but I will guarantee you the defensive guys, they'll get together somewhere and have their own private celebration. A shutout, that's something to be cherished.
Another yard would probably put this thing in the books. It's 2nd and 1. Running right, here's Sanders. And he's going to get it down to the 33-yard line here. Now the AFC going to use their final timeout of the half as they get the stoppage with just under 50 seconds remaining in the fourth. So they'll come up 1st and 10 now from the 33. Another run here with Sanders. Gets past one man, and he takes this just a few yards shy of the red zone before going out. Well, this has certainly been special. And, Charles, as we wind down toward the end of this John Madden Legacy game, your final thoughts?
Well, let's face it, partner, it's going to be hard to overestimate the impact that he made, not just on the sport of football.
And he is in. Touchdown NFC. A great play there with his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. And the NFC is in for 6.
And to me, that touchdown allows you to start grinning widely on your sideline. I think they pretty much locked this one away.
Yeah, that's the clincher, the proverbial icing on the cake, if you will. Anderson on for the extra point. And it is now 21-0. So that drive, 4 plays. And Barry Sanders, the one to finish it off, as he does so with a touchdown run. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. No run back here for Hall, and this will come out to the 25. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Well, it's been a struggle so far for this offense, Charles. It's not only that they haven't been able to put the points up, but really stringing yards together has been a real issue for them in this one.
I'm so glad you brought up the yardage because I was thinking to myself, we've seen a lot of NFL games and we've seen our share of lopsided contests, but in almost all of them, both offenses put up at least 200 yards in a game, but not in this one. This has been a display of offense that, frankly, I think the two of us have watched from behind our hands, trying to spread our fingers wide enough to actually see the result.
On 1st and 10, here's Brady. And he is going to lose yardage here. But despite the completion, they're going to wind up losing 3 there. 2nd down. One final try now for Brady. Well, the NFC pressure a little too much as they get home for the sack. So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.